AMD's Ryzen 5000 or Ryzen 7000X3D CPUs may be leaving some skid marks. Now, a lot of this is unconfirmed. These are some Reddit posts that have been made. There's at least 2 of them now that show pretty definitive scorch marks in the AM5 socket of these Ryzen 7000 CPUs. Came home to my system idling full fan and a Q code of 00. Reddit user SpeedRookie said, reset the BIOS, played with memory, then took it apart to find the 7800X3D bulged out and took the socket with it. And has pictures of a socket here. So you can actually see a physical bulge on the CPU and then bent pins inside of the CPU socket. Moving on, we've seen warpage on a 7950X3D. That is this one right here. Again, because of that grid pattern on the CPU, very easy to see this entire area is deformed, warped, especially right in this section, which is the same section that the other CPU was warped in. And there's been at least one other report, you can see that right here, of a CPU basically exploding in the same manner. And in this one, shorting out the motherboard and potentially, like, possibly catching fire.
Yeah.
Now, is this a risk for everyone? Probably not. Do we know what they were doing with their CPUs? Do we know overclocking, cooling solutions, anything? No, we don't. So I'm not ready to go like, abandon, blah, blah, ding, 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 and go all like warning everyone. But it is an interesting thing that has happened to at least a couple of AM5 based boards, specifically with X3D CPUs. I want to see more information come out before I make a conclusion. And again, just like we saw with RTX 3000 GPUs, where everyone was leaping to like, well, this one has this assembly of capacitors behind the GPU socket. And of course that's the problem. And then it ended up being that NVIDIA just set their boost clock one step too high. Now, physical damage is a little bit different than NVIDIA setting their boost clock one step too high. And no CPU that hits the market should ever catch fire or cause a fire, nor should motherboard AGESA codes. There we go. I tried to fit all of those into one word and mix them all up. So, I will say, I guarantee that these happened, but why they happened is still very much up in the air. Were these isolated incidents? We don't know. There's not a lot of reports on it. Hopefully we'll get some more information in the week to come, but definitely a troubling pattern.
Yeah, I mean, three isn't interesting, but it especially when one comes out, usually the chain comes out of like, oh, I did this, this happened to me, this happened to me, this happened to me. Most people on the standard think it's a rarity on their end. The posts on Reddit didn't seem to have a bunch of, I agree, this happened to me. I agree, this happened to me. Go so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So it, like you said, we don't know cooling, we don't know overclocking, we don't know power management, we don't know even how did they build the computer themselves? Was it a pre-built computer? Anything like that. So yeah, it's interesting. So I don't know. Just make sure have the drivers from the company, and make sure be confident in your settings. So get the latest AMD drivers at least.
Tech Jesus is already on the issue, according to Derbauer. I assumed Gamers Nexus would be on this one. Curious to find out what he finds out. But again, with circumstances like these, you're talking about 3 confirmed reports out of, 500,000 chips shipped? Is it a problem, or was it a manufacturing defect in these particular 3? So,
yeah,
as much credit as I want to give Steve, and Steve does fantastic work. Gamers Nexus and Der Bauer both do fantastic work. You as an individual journalist are never going to get the full story, and so you kind of have to rely on when things are figured out and who will tell you what, and then you can make your own jumps to conclusions, which is why I'm not ringing that alarm bell and going, don't buy any 7000 series X3D CPUs because they're going to catch your house on fire and sleep with your wife or something. I don't have enough information yet.
That was a big leap. Apparently you think AI is going to be that powerful.
I mean, they're taking all the rest of the jobs. Why not?